Hey, what's up everyone? Eric Rossi, the guy with the eye here, and I wanted to talk about photographing protests. Now you might be asking yourself, what am I talking about? But I was recently in Baltimore, Maryland for a photography event, and it just so happened that this was during the Freddie Gray protest, and for the most part, these were non-violent until the last 2 days where it really started to escalate quickly. I'm not going to get into politics or anything like that here. If you're not familiar with the Freddie Gray case in Baltimore, Maryland, just do a Google thing, and you're going to see, basically it's cops versus civilians type of thing. But one of the biggest, I guess, dreams, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, for a photojournalist or for a photographer, stuff that I like to do is to capture the candid, kind of high profile, because this made CNN News, high profile, protests like this, and just to be able to document it in a certain, sense. I wasn't in Baltimore to cover this, it just happened, so you have to be very, very versatile, but I just wanted to give my firsthand experience on how all of this really kind of worked, and, my mindset and what just happened, for the 5 to 10 brief minutes that I've had doing this. So as I was saying, I ran down from my hotel, I heard there was a bunch of commotion. I know that the day before, about, 3 or 5 miles away, something like that, there were protests around the city hall and everything like that, and I was in the Inner Harbor in Baltimore, and I ran down, I saw that there was, bunches of people. I asked the cop later on how many people they expected were at this specific one. Mind you, this was the day before it got really, really violent, and people couldn't leave the city and stuff like that, and they estimated between 400 to 500 people, which was rather large, but it's not their largest set yet. Essentially, I had my Nikon D700 on my black rapid strap, which this saved me. I'll cover that in a second. So I had that around, and I had my Nikon 24-70 2.8 lens. I put that to f4, and I really just kind of I stood by the side at first because it does take a little bit of guts to kind of go into this crowd, this mob, because you don't know what's going to happen. So I was there, a bunch of cops were there, these protesters, helicopters, and media people. I think there was another photographer who kind of bailed out, but then there was 2 kind of independent type film crews that were there as well. And all were just trying to get coverage, to get interviews, to get B-roll, but I was just there to document just certain things. And essentially, I got what I really, really wanted. But then, once again, for the most part, it was extremely nonviolent. But there were certain extremes, and that's what you see in the media, and that's what gets played up. But be safe when you're doing this. You are putting yourself at risk. Now, for example, if I didn't have my black rapid strap here, I would have been screwed. Essentially what happened is, once again, I was only there for 5 to 10 minutes, and there were just a few protesters who gave even another camera crew an issue. I'll pop up a photo of that, and it's just a photo of right after someone smacked their camera out of their hand. But what happened was, I had my camera up here, and if I had my strap, if I didn't have a strap, it would have just been smacked to the ground. But then I come up here, I'll even show a photo of the guy who gave me, the middle finger. I had my camera up here, I took a photo, he gave me the finger, he goes, F you, white media, all that kind of stuff. Once again, let's not get into politics. F you, white media. I took my photos, but then he slapped my camera down out of my hand. But if I had my strap, so I was able to take the blow and didn't do anything or didn't do any damage. So just besides, slurs and a little bit of stuff like that, it really wasn't bad. But you just have to be ready for everything. You just have to be very cognizant for what is going on, aware of your surroundings, however you're backing up, who you're running to, and just really evaluate your surroundings. So it was an overall okay day. I really wish I was there for the second day. I mean, I guess I don't wish I was, but I would have captured a lot more striking imagery, but I captured what I could when I did, last second. But, I would just say be very careful where you're walking, who you're around. Even if you kind of have to blend in, even if you do or don't believe in the cause to get the shot, kind of maybe like, yeah, something like that, just to kind of get more comfortable into the game. Because if these protesters are comfortable with you there, they won't be as much of, vigilant, I don't know if that's the right word, into, how they're reacting to you and what you're getting. Overall, it was not a terrible experience. Once again, if I would have lost my camera like that one camera crew did, I would have been absolutely infuriated. But, overall, it wasn't bad because I was set. So, what kind of settings and stuff would you use for that besides just the mindset and look like how to look? I would use continuous settings because people are walking towards you, away from you, however you're tracking it. Deeper f-stop, f4 to f5.6, something like that, something where you can still get something pretty shallow. And overall, just, auto white balance, just, go from there. If you know how to use manual exposure, or if you're using some of your settings, the aperture is pretty key at this point. And it's really just making sure that you have a decent shutter speed to freeze action. Because some people are running, some people are screaming, some people are doing certain things that maybe your auto just won't catch necessarily. So just be cognizant of your area, what's going on, and if you can use a strap, I highly, highly recommend it, because as I said, someone took a swipe of my camera and it fell. Eric Rossi, the guy with the eye here. Thank you so much for watching this video. I just wanted to document my experience about the Baltimore Freddie Gray protests, as a photographer, as a photojournalist. I'll leave a link to this maybe down on my Flickr or to my website down in the description below, so you can check some out. Once again, I wasn't there a ton. I accidentally happened to be there, and I ran out and I decided that it was a good thing to capture. If you guys and girls have any questions or comments, please leave those down below. I'd be happy to answer and be happy to share, what I learned in doing this, because it's really, really exciting, for a photographer like me.